so many eyeballs on Caitlin. So if they put their #1 golfer, who is currently leading the sport and pushing the sport ahead, if they put her next to Caitlin, what she has done for women's sports and basketball, and to have her at our golf tournament, I mean, I'm like in awe. I've got a basketball and hoping she signs it for my girls. But how cool for her to come out and support us this week and only help grow women's golf. And they also did something really smart by pairing her up with their currently #1 golfer in the world. And her name is Nelly Korda.
Did you hear about the WNBA's meltdown? It's like they're watching their own parade get rained on, and Caitlin Clark's holding the umbrella for the LPGA. You won't believe what just happened. The LPGA just pulled off the biggest steal in sports history, and the WNBA is fuming. We're talking major endorsements, packed crowds, and a whole lot of drama. Want to know how one league's gamble paid off while the other fumbled the ball? Stay tuned, because this story is wilder than a half-court buzzer beater. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now back to the video. You know what's crazy? The LPGA just pulled off the biggest steal in sports. Seriously, they saw an opportunity and grabbed it like a golfer snatching up the last tee time. Picture this. Caitlin Clark, basketball superstar extraordinaire, shows up at a golf event. People were scratching their heads, wondering, what's she doing here? But the LPGA? They knew exactly what they were doing.
What she has done for women's sports and basketball, and to have her at our golf tournament, I mean, I'm like in awe. I've got a basketball and hoping she signs it for my girls. But how cool for her to come out and support us this week and only help grow women's golf. All of the things. And the LPGA was promoting the crap out of this event. They didn't want to give her too much praise. They didn't want to prop her up too much and forget about everyone else who came before her.
They saw how Clark brings in crowds like nobody's business, and they wanted a piece of that action. The event was packed. I'm talking standing room only, people practically climbing over each other to catch a glimpse of Clark. It was like a rock concert, but with golf clubs instead of guitars. And get this, it wasn't just golf fans. Basketball fans, families, curious onlookers, everyone showed up to see what the fuss was about. You know what's even crazier? The atmosphere was electric. Fans were arriving super early, like they were waiting for Black Friday deals or something, and they weren't just showing up and leaving. Nope, they were sticking around long after the event trying to chat with the players. It was like a big sports party, and everyone was invited. But here's the kicker. It wasn't just a one-time boost. The LPGA's brilliant move got people talking about women's golf who'd never given it a second thought before. Suddenly, basketball fans were Googling golf terms, and families were planning their next outing to the green. Even LPGA star Nelly Korda was blown away. She said, "To see the influence that she has on people, bringing people out here, and to see how amazing of an influence she is just for sports was really cool to see firsthand today." That's huge coming from a golf pro! The LPGA took a chance, and it paid off big time. Now everyone's talking about women's golf. Their social media is blowing up, engagement is through the roof, and they're probably wondering why they didn't think of this sooner. So, what do you think? Did the LPGA just change the game for women's sports? Are we going to see more crossovers like this in the future? One thing's for sure, the LPGA's gamble was a hole-in-one, and they're riding that momentum all the way to the bank. Picture this. You've got the next Michael Jordan of women's basketball, and instead of rolling out the red carpet, you're giving her the cold shoulder. Sounds crazy, right?
Now, from this event, I have only seen and heard of positive things. One thing about there being too much spotlight on Caitlin Clark, and it should have maybe been on the professional golfers. I didn't hear one thing about how her fans are toxic. So there are photos of Caitlin and Nelly literally everywhere. And they also did something really smart by pairing her up with their currently #1 golfer in the world. And her name is Nelly Korda.
But that's exactly what's happening with the WNBA and Caitlin Clark. The question is, why? And what's it costing them? Now let's talk about the WNBA. You'd think they'd be all over Clark's popularity, right? Wrong. They're acting like her star power is a problem, not a gold mine. It's like they're watching their own parade get rained on, and they can't figure out why everyone's having fun without them. Some WNBA players are even throwing shade at Clark. Can you believe it? It's like they're scared she's gonna steal their spotlight or something. But here's the thing. That's not how sports work. When one player shines, it usually lights up the whole league. Just look at what LeBron did for the NBA or Serena for tennis. But instead of embracing Clark, the WNBA's getting all defensive. It's like they forgot the first rule of sports. Fans love a star. And Clark, she's not just a star. She's a supernova. She's got people who've never watched a women's basketball game in their lives tuning in. That's huge. You know what's even crazier? Fans are noticing this weird tension. They're wondering why the WNBA isn't celebrating Clark. I mean, she's bringing attention to women's sports. Isn't that what everyone wants? But instead of riding the wave, the WNBA's acting like they're afraid of getting wet. It's not just about one player though, it's about growing the whole sport. Clark's popularity could be a massive boost for the entire league. More fans mean more tickets sold, more merch flying off the shelves, bigger TV deals. It's like a domino effect of awesomeness that the WNBA is choosing to ignore. The WNBA might be missing out on the biggest opportunity they've ever had. While the LPGA is out there making bold moves and reaping the rewards, the WNBA is playing it safe. But in today's sports world, playing it safe is the riskiest move of all. So what do you think? Is the WNBA making a huge mistake by not embracing Caitlin Clark? Or do they have a plan we just can't see yet?
Caitlin Clark's golf debut just made me so upset with the WNBA. So many eyeballs on Caitlin, so if they put their number one golfer who is currently leading the sport and pushing the sport ahead, if they put her next to Caitlin, and that was great. Fans were really excited about that. There was so much buzz online. She was trending on Twitter. There's immediate hesitancy. Is that a word? There's immediate hesitancy about giving Caitlin Clark too much praise.
One thing's for sure, the clock's ticking, and the fans are waiting to see what happens next. Let's talk about the game-changing moves we're seeing in women's sports. The LPGA saw an opportunity with Caitlin Clark and went all in. They're reaping the rewards big time. But the WNBA? They're playing it safe and it's costing them. Here's the thing. Women's sports are at a crossroads. Experts are saying these cross-sport collaborations could totally shake up how we market and engage fans. It's not just about one league or one player. It's about lifting up all women athletes. So what do you think? Is the WNBA making a huge mistake by not jumping on the Caitlin Clark bandwagon, or are they right to be cautious? Maybe there's a middle ground we're not seeing. You know what's cool? We can all play a part in this. Watch those events with crossover athletes. Cheer for unity in women's sports. Show the big wigs that we want to see more collaboration, not less. This story's far from over, and I can't wait to see what happens next. What's your take on all this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you want to stay on top of all the latest sports drama, hit that subscribe button